Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Louise. So here we are getting close to the end of
Yeah.
I Would Meet You Anywhere by Susan Kiyo Ito. We are discussing I Would Meet You at a Wedding, followed by Origami, followed by
Undertow.
Undertow. Yes.
Hmm.
Sorry about that. Um, so the wedding
Yeah.
is we ended last episode with when she went to Mika's graduation party and she met Kaz, the brother.
Kaz,
And we were speculating that he might know who she is, but as it turns out, he didn't. So
this whole time,
this
he
whole
thought she
time.
was
So
a friends with Mika
yeah, the one friend that's in all the family pictures.
that he never saw before until like later years. It's so strange.
Yeah, like suddenly she appears. So now he's getting married
Yeah.
and
I
has
was
invited her to the wedding.
I was kind of surprised she was invited, honestly. And then she said to Yumi, "Well, does he know that I am his sister?" And she said no. And she said, well, "This might be a good time to tell him." And she did. I'm
Hmm.
always impressed that Yumi does come through and tells people. It's like kind of funny. And then he was excited. Like, "Oh,
Yeah,
hi,
he's like, "Hey,
sis."
sis." Yeah.
She's like, "Didn't you know?" He goes, "No." I'm like, okay, that's such a funny thing.
And by now, so Susan has her daughter Molly, who
Hmm.
is 9 months old, right? So
Yeah.
she takes Molly to the wedding, and she's staying at
Yeah.
Yumi's house, and bouncing around, but she's not seated at the family table, so it's
Right.
obvious that nobody knows except the immediate family.
It's like old
And
friends of hers, and they say to her, "How do you know Yumi?" And she doesn't say I'm her daughter because she feels
yeah,
like
she's
that's
like,
her contract, her quiet contract or something.
mm-hmm. Also, but we didn't mention that Kaz has a baby. So,
All right.
which plays in because then one of the wedding guests, Susan comes over or Yumi comes over and is holding Molly, and one
Hmm.
of the wedding guests says, "Oh, is this your granddaughter?" And Susan and Yumi's the veil kind of
Yes.
comes up, and she goes, "No, it's not. She's a family friend, or just
She's the
whatever.
house guest
She's my
daughter.
house guest daughter," and that just
Ooh,
crushed Susan. Just crushed her.
it crushed me to read because I was thinking if someone said I'm the house guest,
Yeah.
it's not even like I don't know what. It's just a very strange word to pull out. And then she said something like, "Oh, she is beautiful," to lighten
Yeah,
it.
but she is beautiful, but the damage was done. And then Susan ends that chapter by
Hmm.
saying she never goes back to that house.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't know why.
No, the
Yet.
next morning,
Yet.
Molly and I flew to California. We would never be back.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, that crushed me. I was like, really, we're at this stage. You look like these people. Do people care? I mean, I think people had lives. They had things happen. She's a grandmother's age now. I would never like if you were somewhere and I didn't know you very well and you said, "Oh, and this is my I'd say, "Oh, I didn't know that. This is exciting. How neat to meet you."
Right.
I would never think twice, but
Nobody
maybe
would
that's
like
us.
flee the room and
No.
dear God, and like run away,
No, but it's just so deep, I guess, in
You haul
psyche.
it you. Yeah.
Yep. So the next one's called Origami. And this was cute,
Yes.
actually. This was neat, I thought. She and her sister Mika go on a bus to learn for like a 4-day thing, not some like quick tour. They go for 4 days to stay up and learn about the concentration camps, the actual work camps.
The internment camps
Yeah,
for the Japanese during World War II,
yeah.
which is just horrible. Her parents
Hmm.
weren't affluent enough, right, to
Right.
have been taken. That was kind of what
No
I was reading.
property. They were renters. Yeah.
They were renters, didn't own their own business, so they were kind of left alone. But I think somebody they knew was just taken
Oh, like their
from his
minister.
shop, and their minister.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
it's
he
just
was like in the middle of a
horrible.
sermon or something. Yeah. Horrible.
So
What's interesting is we used to live on area you know very well in Los Angeles off Sawtell, which is all Japanese culture and homes. And we met so many of our neighbors, my husband and I, that all recame and brought back to that area from the camps. And all of them had to sell those beautiful properties, all that space. They're just renters now. Some were able to rebuy. Well, they're doing a class action lawsuit coming up. So I
Wow.
thought of this because this played into this. I was thinking it's such a dark period of our history that we don't really realize what happened to, and their sons are fighting in the war.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
just
know.
all, these are American citizens. I mean, it's just horrible. Okay.
That
But
was
the,
a,
yeah. Oh, and the reason it was called origami is because she has to sit. This was kind of cute. She has to sit with all these older women. One day, Mika goes off on a hike and she sits with all these like older women who are talking in Japanese about her. And she can tell that, oh, she's half Japanese or whatever the name is. And she's trying to fold the origami bird that's like on the front of the book here. And she's like, my hands are too big. I can't do it. They're going to know I'm
yeah, like
not
I have my
Japanese.
father's hands and they probably see the hair, I have
Yeah,
the
the
hair on
hair.
my arms that,
And and I'm not Japanese enough kept coming up with her. And I
yeah.
just think that's another thing with adoptees is like, I'm not part of this culture really, but I am. You are Japanese. That's why you're there. But it's like, I can't make the bird. That was, but then this cute older lady couldn't make the bird either. And
Yeah.
she
And
was
that was,
Japanese
yeah.
fully. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And we
Oh,
have, yeah,
and
undertow.
Undertow, which was talking about
God.
the sandwich generation, when your parents get old, but you're also still taking care of kids
Yeah.
yeah, and her father had an aneurysm. And
Yeah.
so she went back and forth to New Jersey from California.
Yeah.
Um, and ultimately he ends up paraplegic.
Yeah. He ends
Very
up having
devastating.
infections. And I
Hmm.
related to this a lot with my own dad. I loved him so much and I had a lot of feelings she has about it. And it's like, I don't know. It's just, he was such a, the reason it's called undertow is because he had a
Right, that story from,
experience. Yeah. He left her because she was going to drown him when she had gotten taken in the undertow and had left
yeah, okay,
him.
let's
Mhm.
maybe explain that a little bit. They had gone on a
Mhm.
trip and Susan was out, she was 15 and out swimming and
Mhm.
loving every minute of it. And then as she went on, like kind of forgetting her where she was, she realized how far away she was and she couldn't keep swimming. And what was she
Mhm.
going to do? And she thought she was going to drown. Then her dad came and he's like, Susan, stay. And she's trying to grab onto him. He's like, I'm not strong enough. I'm going to drown. Stay here and I'll go get help. And she was like, no, don't leave me.
Mhm.
And then he did bring help. He brought
You did.
a ton of or I guess it's soldiers, right?
Yeah.
Um, and they got her out. And then she kind of forgot the incident. Like,
Yeah,
it
kids, you move on.
didn't think anything of it, but it just tore him up for all those years. And
He could hear her weakly, like crying,
yeah, he
"Don't
thought it.
leave
Yeah.
me."
Yeah. Oh, what a sweet
Sweet
man.
man.
So
That's
he,
that parent guilt, man. You do something that
yeah.
haunts you.
Yes.
It
Yes.
haunts you. And the one thing, it was very interesting because Yumi came to the hospital and prayed and said hi to them and paid her respects there
Yeah.
with, and I was like,
Because
okay, well,
she'd
there's
been in New
Yumi
York.
again. Yeah. She didn't say much about her in that, but that she had come there. This was mostly just about her and her dad and him saying, oh, the thing that he said, this was interesting. I did have that here. He said, Suze, I had made, this is what her father was saying to her. I had made a promise I would never leave you. A promise. You were so small, you had already had enough of that, of being left.
Yeah.
What a
That's
big
so,
acknowledgement.
I know, so aware, especially for that time of adoptive parents
Yes.
to be so open and aware. Remember it and just the whole helping her
Yeah.
find Yumi, just everything that being open to
Yes.
Yumi and
Yes.
very, very rare for that era. And even now, from things we
Yeah.
hear, people
Yeah.
are not so open like that still.
We talked
So,
about it today. Nope,
yeah,
they aren't.
yeah. So, it's really,
Well, we are getting to the end, and soon we're
we
having
are. So,
Susan
well,
on.
next week we'll read up to part 3. So we've
Okay.
got 3 short, very short, like we're barely reading. And then, I think we'll
Yeah.
tackle the end of we probably have couple more weeks, I think. We'll talk about this. Right now, we're going to read up
Read
to
to part three.
part 3, then we'll figure that out.
Perfect. All right. And let's stay. Oh, Victoria's next. She's great.
Yes, love Victoria. Okay,
See you in a minute.
see you in a minute.